Tyler, and you're watching The Road to Recovery Dallas. We provide a platform for business owners to share how they've adapted to the COVID-19 pandemic, but also how they're having to get pretty creative in the services that they are offering. Today, we have a special guest with us, Paige Mejia, and Paige is the Chief Marketing Officer for Pyrotex. Hello, Paige. How are you
Hel
this morning?
I'm doing great, Donna. How are you?
I am doing wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Now, many of us know of you, Paige, from the pyrotechnics that you provide around the city, from the lighting of the Christmas tree for the last 20 years in the Galleria of downtown, not downtown Dallas, but the Galleria area of Dallas,
Yes.
as well as the Plano Balloon Festival for over 15 years, and then a host of 4th of July celebrations around Texas. But you're also a major contributor to our MPI chapter. You have been the past president of the chapter, but you also took it upon yourself to give us a little guidance as we were trying to reopen safely in Texas. Um, Give me a little background of how and why you took this upon yourself and how you created the guide.
So when COVID first happened and everything shut down, and then slowly things started to reopen and mandates were given by state and local officials, there was a lot of gray area and there was a lot of confusion among the industry on what we were supposed to do, what were suggestions, what were rules, how do we follow them, how do we get our clients to follow them. And so I started making some phone calls to both local and state officials and asking questions. I had been on a lot of Zoom calls and webinars with event professionals around the country. And I was actually given the opportunity to be shared some of the documents that were from a couple of the other states. They had laid out this beautiful document that was perfect. It was very similar to our mandates and what our policies were. And so I kind of used that as a framework to develop one for the North Texas area. I went through all of our governmental mandates from the Open Texas website. I went through some of our local mandates as well. And then I also talked to event professionals in every aspect of the industry. And so together we created this guide that gives us answers, but also gives our client answers on how they can have the safest possible event.
You have really done such a fantastic job on the guide. It's pretty in depth. Now, tell me this: what are some of the advantages of utilizing the guide, and what types of businesses will benefit from it?
It's a guide for clients to use, for venue owners to use, for really anyone who's wanting to limit the spread. The advantages is it's just kind of a one-stop shop. So you have everything from nuts to bolts of the event, and not only weddings. However, we did put in some corporate event specific things, but also this could be used for businesses. This could be used for restaurants. And there's things in there about food service, about the cleanliness of bathrooms that can apply to really most industries, not just the events industry.
How can we work together, Paige, as an industry, outside of the industry, to make sure that we're doing all we can to keep our internal and external clients safe? It's more than just the responsibility of the business, but I think the consumer and attendees have a role in how we're staying safe as well.
Correct. And unfortunately, the mask mandate, even the vaccine, it's become a political issue. But I think that we need to educate people on how these things can help. Well, here's the best practices, and here's how we can stay safe. There's a large event industry and a large live events industry as well that's really hurting right now. And this is our only opportunity for a financial life and to feed our families. But also there's the people that do want to get back to regular life. They want to have their weddings, they want to have their concerts, they want to go to movies and just kind of get back to living life. And that's why we need to show and educate people that you can do that. You can get back to living life. You just need to do it safely so that there's not all of this bad karma on and bad stigma on the industry.
Now, you mentioned something very important: best practices. Give me give me an idea of a few of the best practices that we'll find in the guide.
Some of the best practices that I really hope actually stay around post COVID is like washing the bathrooms often and wiping down counters and wiping doorknobs. And then on the food service side, not having self-serve buffet, having individual packaged meals versus it being out in the open. Same thing whenever you come into the room, the salads, the water glasses, the silverware should not be pre-placed right now. And if they are, they should have a little glass dome or plastic covering over the top of it. Anytime that people are not sitting down and eating and drinking, they should have their mask on. And this is at weddings, at corporate events.
So, with our industry friends, um, what do you want them to know about the guide and how can they obtain a copy of it?
So I believe Donna is actually going to put a link in the comments for the guide. But so you can take it, print it out, use it for your company, for your employees. Give it to your clients, have them read through it as well. You should be, as an event professional, you should have added some verbiage to your contract. Definitely talk to your lawyer about that if you've not already. But I know that a lot of vendors are also having guest sign COVID waivers. And this guide, if they read through it, will definitely answer questions. You don't need to go shifting through all of the many websites and many mandates that the government's provided, and you don't have to guess. This takes out all the guesswork for everything. This kind of protects you as long as you follow these guidelines.
Like I said before, we also have a responsibility as the individual, as a consumer, as the attendee, to make sure that we can all operate together and reopen this industry and reopen this world again.
So we are responsible for our employees. We are responsible for our clients. We are responsible for the guests. We're responsible for ourselves and our family. And these people do come to the events understanding the risks. They know what the risks are. You need to cover yourself so that that liability goes away.
Paige, thank you so much for being with us today and providing such an in-depth look at how we can operate safely while we're reopening. It's so very important. I will make sure to have a link available for everyone so that you can have a copy of the North Texas Event Services Reopening Guide. I would encourage you to read it front and back and make sure that you're doing everything that you can do to make sure that you're safe, your employees are safe, as well as your guests. If you are looking for an exciting celebration, whether it's a wedding or a birthday or a graduation or even a corporate event, I want you definitely to think about Paige and Pyrotex for your next event. They will make sure it's memorable. And remember, I am Donna Eiler. We are watching the Road to Recovery Dallas. And let's make sure that we're safe, that we can reopen because we are so much better together. Thank you so much and have a good day.